What is up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome back. We're here for our lesson 46, the first lesson of Intermediate 2. So congratulations, everybody that followed us along the way for Intermediate 1. Don't forget to subscribe if you would like for your English to jump to get much better. This is a place where your English will improve a lot. We have lots of stuff here on the channel, over 1,000 videos, most of them in Portuguese, but these ones are going to be in English. And here we are today with Feliciana. Hi, Feliciana. How are you? And she is frozen for me, but here we go. Let's get it started. We already did the audio. I'll put the audio up into the right, the link up and to the right. And here we go with our topics. Oops, I lost Feliciana, but here we go. Let's go with the presentation here. So the topics for us today in lesson 46, we're going to talk about to play, the verb to play and ways that we use it, music versus song, which causes a lot of confusion, kinds of music, what we mean by kind, candy versus sweet, parents versus relatives, what happened, what's the weather like, e muito mais. And here we go. So when we talk about, so we're going to start off actually with some review. This is one of the things that we talked about before in Intermediate 1. We talked about in the morning, tomorrow morning. So what happens when we have just de manhã? When we want to say de manhã, we use in the morning. So for example, something that you do in the morning might be you wake up, right? That's the best time to wake up is in the morning. You wake up in the morning. Maybe you take a shower in the morning. You might go to the gym in the morning, go for a walk, do other exercise in the morning. Those are things that we do in the morning. So de manhã. So when we have that part of the day, we say in the morning, we say in the afternoon, we say at night, and then we have in the evening, which is less common. It's more formal, especially where I'm from, the region that I'm from in the northwestern United States. But we don't say tomorrow in the morning when I put tomorrow. So now I take tomorrow, which is normally a noun, and I turn it into an adjective, and I put tomorrow morning. So any other time that we have an adjective like Monday morning, yesterday afternoon, we take out in the. So when I have, when I start off with in the morning, and then I want to say tomorrow in the morning, I don't say tomorrow in the morning. I say tomorrow morning. Then if I want to say segunda-feira de manhã, I don't say Monday in the morning. I say Monday morning. And it's that way. So Monday morning, yesterday afternoon, and then we have the three that are different, which are last night, this morning, this afternoon, and tonight. So the key here is to sound more like a native speaker, then we're going to take out in the. So some examples here of when we have today, like I said, this morning, then we can also say, for example, this Friday. So instead of just saying Friday, I can say this Friday to make it clear that I'm talking about esta sexta-feira. This month, neste mês, we're going this Friday. Nós vamos nessa sexta agora. We're going next Friday. Nós vamos na sexta que vem. So if hoje, quinta-feira, dia 3. Nós vamos sexta, dia 11, e não dia 4. Okay, so next Friday gives the idea. The closer we are to Friday, the more that we usually use next to talk about not the one that's coming, but the one after that. We're going next Friday. So we're going next Friday. Nós vamos na sexta que vem. Hoje, quinta, dia 3. Vamos sexta, dia 11, e não 4. We can also say we're going the Friday after next. And you can say the Friday after next or Friday after next, which means nós vamos uma semana da sexta-feira. So, se hoje é quinta, dia 3, vamos sexta, dia 11 e não 4. So, we use Friday after next when we want to skip one Friday. To play, we have jogar, right? Most people know my son plays video games. This is a very common mistake, is for video games because in Portuguese, everybody says videogame. Most people want to say my son plays video game. But what we need to remember, video game is the game, and video games is usually the unit, the thing, the whole thing that we play. Brincar, children like to play with water. So play also means brincar. Tocar, música ou instrumento. Can you play a song for me? So these are the three main meanings of to play. Jogar, my son plays video games every day. Brincar, children like to play with water. E tocar, música ou instrumento. Can you play a song for me? When we talk about music that we can play, classical music is a kind of music or a type of music. Also, you can also say a music genre. We can also use the word genre that comes from French to say a kind of music. A kind and a type are less formal than saying a genre, but I can ask, what's your favorite kind of music? What's your favorite type of music? What's your favorite music genre or genre of music? So can you hear classical music playing in the garden? Classical music has been shown to help anxious people. So classical is one form, one kind of music. And we also so for example, I really like Brazilian rock. I'd probably say it's my favorite music genre.
Professor, kind and of kind and type of music. It's the same for the food, kind.
Sure. Yeah. So
type.
Good question. Anytime you want to use tipo, you can use kind or type. A lot of Brazilian English speakers say type because they like the cognate tipo, right? Which is normal. We like cognates. So a lot of Brazilian speakers will say type of music, but we actually use kind of more a kind of. Remember, we have kind of that also means mais ou menos. So how do we know which is which? If, for example, I say, so there's the kind of that is mais ou menos and a kind of, which is tipo. So, for example, if I say, I kind of like samba. I kind of like samba, right? So in that case, I kind of like samba. What does that mean, Feliciana? Oh, I think she froze again. Feliciana, what does I kind of like samba?
É um tipo de música que eu gosto, samba.
Não, ok, mas não é tipo. Aqui kind não é tipo. Isso é eu meu ou eu mais ou menos gosto de samba. But I'm not saying that samba is a kind of music. So I kind of like samba. Eu mais ou menos o meu gosto de samba. Samba is a kind of music. So the key here is so remember, in English, when we have countable nouns, we almost always need an article 99% of the time. So that we go back to that old thing, eu tenho carro. In Portuguese, I can say eu tenho carro. In English, I can't say eu tenho carro. I have to say eu tenho carro. I have a car. And kind is countable. And so when we say tipo de música, samba é tipo de música. So that's the difference. If it has a, then I know that it is tipo, a kind of music. And if it is kind of without a, then I know that it is mais ou menos. The exception being when it's plural. If I say, for example, I like many kinds of music, or I like a lot of kinds of music. Okay, so then I like many kinds of music. So it doesn't have a because it's plural, but then in the context, we can see that it is tipos de música e not, porque não faria sentido. It wouldn't make sense to say, eu gosto, how would I say that? So for example, I kind of like music. So what happens here with I kind of like, notice that kind of goes before like. And here, kinds of goes after like. So in this case where we have tipos, it goes after, and where it's mais ou menos, it goes before. So that was a good question.
Quando eu falo kind,
Sorry? You froze. We're not hearing anything. Can you try and repeat? Can you please try and repeat that? Okay, we'll see if she comes back to us. So I really like Brazilian rock. I'd probably say it's my favorite music genre. So kind of music. So we have kind of music. We have kind of music. We have okay, you're probably gonna have to, yeah, there we go. She's gonna have to try and come back in. Okay, so I really like Brazilian rock. I'd probably say it's my favorite music genre. So we have genre, which is the same thing as kind or type. Comes from the French, a little bit fancier to say genre. Some different kinds of music or different music genres. We have rock, country, hip hop and rap, jazz. Beto, What's your favorite music genre? You are on mute.
My
There we go.
favorite music is MPB.
MPB. Okay, very good. So in that case, you would say either my favorite kind of music, my favorite type of music, or my favorite music genre.
My favorite kind of music is MPB.
Good. I love MPB. That's probably, I would say, probably Brazilian rock and then MPB are my two favorites. Very good. All right. What kind of music do you like least? Que você menos gosta. What kind of music do you like least?
I kind of list is music actuality. Is kind of Anita.
Okay. Okay. So be careful. Remember, when you say kind, if you just say kind of, you're saying mais ou menos. So if you want to say so for example, my least favorite, then kind of music is so Anita, like funk or
funk. Yes.
Brazilian
funk.
Funk. Yes, that's also my least favorite kind of music. So my least favorite kind of music, or even even if you just said I don't like Brazilian funk, would be a possibility. Then if you don't say music, but I don't like Brazilian funk is another way that you could answer that. So least, so we have most, and then, for example, most favorite, my most favorite, and least favorite. And we don't really need most favorite, right? Because if it's favorite, já é o máximo, right? Esse já é o favorito, não precisa de mais favorito. But when we have least favorite, que eu menos gosto. My least favorite. So for example, my least favorite movie is Little Shop of Horrors, or whatever your least favorite might be. So 4 different types there. Then we also have, of course, MPB, samba. We have a lot of different, a lot of kinds of music that are typical of Brazil. When we talk about the place that we go to watch music, in Portuguese, we use show. Ele foi para show da Anitta or whatever. Okay, so in English, we don't use show as much for when we go to a place to see a band or a musical artist. We use concert, which is interesting because we have concert in Portuguese, but then concert in what seems to me that when we have concert, seems to me that when we use concert in Portuguese, it's more of a formal thing, like a classical music concert, and not as much like a band or a musical artist. How do we call that? A solo artist. So in English, we use concert, even if it's Anitta, if it's Paralamas do Sucesso, No matter what, if it's Sangalo, whoever it might be, we use the word concert instead of show. So show we actually use more for TV or Broadway. So a TV show or a Broadway show. In those situations, we use show and not when it's a band or a solo artist. Beto, can you read for us?
Read. I went to a Beach Boys concert when I was
A kid.
a kid.
Uh-huh. What does that mean?
Eu fui para o Beach Boys concerto, né? Concerto do Beach
Show.
Boys,
Seria show.
quando eu era criança.
Yeah, como você quase falou, é show em português. Nós usamos show. Yeah. So, yep, Beach Boys concert, show do Beach Boys. Can you read the next one?
The Phantom of the Opera was the longest running show on Broadway. Running show on Broadway. O Fantasma da Ópera está há um longo tempo
Estava, yeah.
Yeah,
so
período longo de show na Broadway.
Yeah, mais longo, longest.
Mais longo.
So, when we talk about...
Foi o que teve maior período na Broadway, né?
Exactly. So, when we talk about Broadway...
the longest running... why running?
That's what I was about to explain. So when on Broadway shows, we use the verb to run. So for example, the Phantom of the Opera ran on Broadway. Why? I don't know why we use run, but they do when you're talking about Broadway shows, they use the verb to run. So that's why longest running. So longest running is the Broadway show that was open for the longest time. You could also say shortest running if it was the Broadway show that was open and then closed. It wasn't popular, it wasn't successful. So that's a very good question. Why do they use run? I don't know why they use run, but that's the verb that they use with Broadway shows.
Okay.
It's a very good question.
Grey's Anatomy is my wife's favorite TV show.
So then there's an example of show. So you can say TV series, which is what in Portuguese everybody says series. A lot of people use TV show instead of TV series. I think it's probably about 50-50. 50% of the people probably use show. 50% of the people use series. When we talk about music, there's another thing that happens. There's another problem, which is when we have music versus song. So a lot of people make the mistake of saying, for example, Beto, tell me, what's your favorite song? Do you have a favorite song?
My favorite song is Beatles.
Okay, so is Beatles a song?
No.
So maybe your favorite band or your favorite group is the Beatles,
Yes.
but do you have a favorite Beatles song? What's your favorite Beatles song or song by the Beatles?
Let It Be.
Let It
My
Be.
favorite song is Let It Be.
Perfect. Fantastic song. Very nice. So my favorite song is, and then you could say your favorite song. What people say in Portuguese is minha música favorita. So in English, we don't say my favorite music because music is uncountable. Music is either I am hearing music, eu estou escutando, estou ouvindo música, or if I want to say of my favorite music genre. So if your favorite band, for example, is the Beatles, maybe one of your favorite genres is classic rock or good time oldies. Oldies is a term, at least when I was younger, they used oldies for music like the Beatles and bands like the Beach Boys, bands that were more fun than they weren't actually rock, like the Rolling Stones or the Who, or those ones would be classic rock, where good time oldies or oldie music was what they used to describe the Beatles. So that is music when you talk about either a genre or music in general. And when we want to say, I like that, eu gosto daquela música, I like that song, because music is música em geral and song is canção. And we don't mix the two. We don't use music when we're talking about individual songs. So music is música em geral, ou tipo de música. I can hear music playing somewhere. Eu estou ouvindo música tocando em algum lugar. What kind of music do you like? Song is canção, música na ideia de música individual. What's your favorite song? Would you like to listen? And one thing, here's a mistake here. When we want to say, would you like to listen? Remember, listen to my new song. So would you like to listen to my new song? We always need, when we have to listen, we always need the preposition to. Would you like to listen to my new song? Something interesting with music, that when we talk about escutar música, right? So in this case, I can hear music playing somewhere. Eu estou ouvindo música tocando em algum lugar. When I put on my headphones and eu estou ouvindo música, so in Portuguese we can say, no momento eu estou ouvindo música. No momento eu estou tocando música, right? So we can use either one if I have my headphones on and I'm listening to the Beatles or something. In English, we don't say I'm hearing music when I put my headphones on and play a song. I put it on Spotify or something. I'm in that case, I'm listening to music. We don't use I'm hearing music when I'm doing it on purpose. If I'm here, and like last night, I was teaching a class and I could hear my wife singing downstairs. So I wasn't listening to her at first. I was hearing her without trying to hear her. And in the case of I'm listening, so once I heard her, then I started listening. Then I wanted, what was that? I wanted to hear where it was. Then I remember that when we use listen, geralmente com listen eu faço esforço. Com hear, geralmente é sem esforço. Eu estou ouvindo alguma coisa, barulho lá fora, uma música do vizinho, qualquer coisa assim. Eu começo ouvindo para depois prestar atenção, para depois escutar.
Okay.
The thing that we need to remember about music is that it's uncountable. So the example that I gave, I liked those musics. No, music doesn't have Almost never, music almost never is plural because it's uncountable. I liked those songs. Gostei daquelas músicas, daquelas canções, literalmente. So we don't say musics. So maybe I went to a party and I liked the music, but not all of them, not all of something. Most of the songs were good, but not all of them. Beto, what does that mean? Most of the songs were good, but not all of them.
Most of the songs were good, but now all of them.
Not all of them.
Not all of them.
Good.
A maioria das músicas são boas, né?
Estavam,
Estavam
ou foram,
mas nem todas eles têm, né?
Not, so there seria deles. Here is nem todos, todas delas. Nem todas delas, right? So remember the
Then,
I, me, you, he, him, she, her, they, them. And that's why, right? So not all of the songs were good. Not everything was true in that post. So not all, the difference between not all and not everything is the same as when we say all or everything or all and whole, which is all is when I'm talking about parts of a whole, parts of something. So most of the songs, so all of the songs were the songs that were played, not all of them were good. If I say not everything, then I'm saying nem tudo, nem todos. Not everything was true in that post. Nem tudo foi verdade naquele post. Nem tudo estava certo ou verdadeiro ou verdade naquele post. Daí, not everything. Not all of something, not everything. Candy versus sweet. This is very common because we have, so candy versus sweet, this is common because we have a difference between American English and British English. First of all, let's look at that difference. Candy is uncountable. We use it as uncountable unless we're talking about different kinds of candy. So for example, if I say Twix or Kit Kat or Bees, those I can say candies because they're different kinds of candy. When I am not talking about specifically different kinds of candy, then I use candy as uncountable. So I want to buy some candy instead of I want to buy some candies. It's much less common to hear candies than it is to hear candy because in American English, we usually use it as uncountable. So I want to buy some candy, alguns doces. Sweets is britânico. So she doesn't want her kids to eat sweets. And you can hear it. It's one of those things that is British English, but you can hear it used in American English at times. When you want to be, when it's to eat sweets is something when we're talking about anything that is sweet. So it can be candy, and it can be also be something that is just a dessert. In American English, we have candy, which is like balas and chiclete, gum, different individual candies like hard candy, You've got, what are those called? Candy bars. Those are all considered candy. Basically, anything you can get on Halloween, we consider candy. Where when we talk about dessert is more what we use for cake, for pie, bolo, torta, things that you would eat after dinner. Usually people don't have candy after dinner. It's possible, but it's not as common as having what in American English, what we would say is dessert, sobremesa, which is cakes and pies and those kinds of things. Sweet is also the adjective for doce. So in British English, a sweet or sweets are what we would say candy or dessert in American English. And then we have the adjective in both American and British English. My son-in-law picked some sweet mangoes at his friend's country house. Beto, what does that mean?
My son-in-law picked some sweet mangoes at his friend's country house. É meu filho de lei, né? Meu filho em lei.
Ok, o que significa filho em lei, o filho de lei?
Meu filho adotado, meu filho adotivo.
Genro.
Não, genro.
Genro, yeah.
Oh,
Right? Porque ele não é seu filho, mas ele é
okay.
só seu filho na lei.
Não. Wait a moment.
No problem. So my son-in-law picked some sweet mangoes. So mango is manga.
Mangos. Manga. My son-in-law. Meu genro. Uns pedaços de manga.
What do you know the verb to pick?
É morder, né?
No.
Pegar.
Colher, tirar da árvore.
Alguns mangas doces e para seus amigos da friends, his friends country house. Country é fora da cidade, né? Fora da cidade. É na casa de campo, alguma coisa assim.
Yes.
Country house.
Yes. So pode ser chácara, pode ser.
Né?
Okay, but there's a difference. What's the difference between friends and... So if I say, for example, what's the difference between his friends and his friends?
Ok. His friends é os amigos dele, né? E his friends, no caso aí, seria ele está na sua casa.
Isso, sua, right? Good.
Na sua casa de campo, na sua casa no campo, alguma coisa assim.
Yes. Actually, in our sentence it was na, but here it's his friend's house, a casa.
Na casa do seu amigo, né? Na casa de campo do seu amigo.
Yeah, in that example here, just his friend's house é a casa do seu amigo. A casa do seu amigo. Yes. So that's the key here is the apostrophe S is possessive. Possessive. So here his friends are amigos dele because it's not possessive, no apostrophe. Yes. Here a casa pertence ao amigo por causa do apóstrofo.
Mas naquela frase, his friends country house.
Mm-hmm.
Aí seria na casa de
Podemos dizer
campo.
chácara, pode ser chácara.
Chácara. Na chácara do seu amigo.
Na chácara do seu amigo, exactly. Exactly. Which is true. And actually there's something when we talk about son-in-law and daughter-in-law, something that I thought was really interesting. When I was dating a Brazilian girl.
Ela tá mandando mensagem aí, ó.
Daughter-in-law. So one thing that I thought was really interesting when I was dating a Brazilian girl many years ago was her brother called me his brother-in-law. And I thought it was very strange. Why? Because in English, when we say in-law, it means on paper. It means that you are married. So for example, when that example that I used of my my son-in-law, right? So if I'm talking about my daughter has a boyfriend, even though they're serious, and even if they get engaged, then I don't call him my son-in-law until they are married. So we don't use son-in-law, for example, for someone who my daughter is dating. So if I don't use son-in-law for the man my daughter is dating, what do I use? In that case, I would use my daughter's boyfriend. Okay, my daughter's boyfriend is not my son-in-law. Not son-in-law. I only use son-in-law, daughter-in-law, mother-in-law, father-in-law, brother-in-law, sister-in-law. I only use them when it is signed on the dotted line, when it is on the paper. Otherwise, it's my daughter's boyfriend, my son's girlfriend, my girlfriend's mom.
After the statement, after the casamento,
After the wedding.
Casamento.
After the wedding. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Only after the wedding. So the first time I was like, whoa, when I was dating a Brazilian girl, and I was friends with her brother, and her brother came up, e aí, cunhadão? And I was like, what? No, we're not married. But in Portuguese, we do that, right? We say cunhado, we say genro, we say we use all of those. Nora, yeah, I almost said genra. Then I stopped myself. I don't have any sons, so I've never had a Nora. But so those are terms that we only use after the wedding. You're exactly right. We don't use them for people that are dating, even if they are engaged. Even if, do you know what engaged means?
Engaged.
What does engaged mean? Engaged. Noivo. So even if someone is engaged, we still don't say, if my daughter were engaged to her boyfriend, it would be my daughter's fiance. my daughter's fiance, and not my son-in-law. Until that wedding, until it's signed on the dotted line, it's not going to be son-in-law, daughter-in-law, or any of the others. So that is the first part of lesson 46. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'm going to put the second part on Beto's face. So click on Beto's face where you will see the second part of this lesson that actually is in the future for us, but for you, it's going to be in the past. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Until next time,